this school is a cross-section of the community. We've got European, we've got Māori, we've got Chinese children, we've got very able, very bright children, and we also have children with special needs, and we're all part of this family, and the goal is to have every child learning and participating to the maximum of their abilities. When I was appointed as principal, there was a move at that time to consider inclusion, and we very quickly got into that concept and worked with families and staff to build an inclusive climate in the school. A principal has to work closely with their Board of Trustees and with their staff, so there needs to be discussion, there needs to be talk, there may need to bring other people in to talk through some of these issues that will start a ball rolling that will lead to a totally inclusive environment.
Eating that, good boy.
All our children are in their age-appropriate classes with their peers, and their needs are met from within that setting. So resourcing is put in place, be it because the child is individually funded as an all student, whether they're a moderate learning needs and they're funded through a special education grant that all schools get, whether they are funded through TIFIA or an outside agency such as ACC or GSE. The child's needs are met within the setting that they are in every day, just the same way as their peers.
Teachers have got to feel well supported. The teacher who has a teaching role for an ORS funded child is a critical person. The support staff who work with that child is a critical person. And the resources that are wrapped around the program are critical too. And if all of those things can come together, then the teacher can enjoy teaching children with special needs as part of their family, their classroom family.
The children with learning needs at our school, special needs children, don't belong to any one person, they belong to the whole school. And you'll often find that other teachers, the principal, other people that work around the school will support them in their learning, will take the time to see if they're reaching their learning outcomes and just to spend time with them. So it really needs to come from the top, and everybody needs to be on board.
The classroom teachers, the special education teachers, the parents, any outside specialists that come in to work with the children, the teacher aides, they're all very much a team that work together collaboratively around each child.
Fantastic. What's your goal at the moment?
Support can be in terms of the physical resources. Firstly, if the child is disabled, needs to be able to get into the classroom, needs to be able to have desks that are the right height, needs to have some of physical resources such as jigsaw puzzles, Play-Doh, all of that sort of stuff. So your school needs to be supporting you and providing you with the things that a classroom teacher needs. Professional development really needs to be encouraged in your school, whether that is finding out background information about the child that you're going to be working with, whether it is being taught different strategies to use, and whether it's just going to courses that provide you with more ideas and more resources also. It's hugely important that your school's really behind you, because that child does not just belong to that teacher, he or she belongs to the whole school.
How are you happy people? It's nice to see you this morning. Did you enjoy assembly today? Yes! Can you sit around and look this way?
And how are you today? It's really nice to see you. Let's have some fun today.
The benefits for the rest of the children in the class for having an inclusive classroom are just absolutely huge. You see the other children in the class develop some really lovely characteristics without you needing to explicitly teach them. And that's things like they develop an understanding for the child, they develop acceptance, and empathy, and they just, you find that they really enjoy the children.
I like that. It's with 2 fingers. Have you got your 2 fingers? 2 fingers. Yeah. Can you guys do your F as well? Awesome. So it's kind of...
Jaden in our classroom, he's non-verbal, but he's very vocal. He makes a lot of sounds. He's learning a sign language so that he can communicate ideas. And some of the children in the class are picking up on that and just trying hard to learn it also.
You're making an R shape.
He's a lot of fun. He has quite a sense of humour on him as well, and the kids just love him. And again, they always celebrate the successes that he makes also.
The difference that it makes for the other students is they are accepting of everybody. They learn that even though we're different, we all belong to this class. Each and every one of them are a part of Room 3. And no matter what we look like, what we sound like, whether we're talking, whether we're using words to communicate, whether we're using signs to communicate, we are all Room 3. To facilitate inclusion on a daily basis, I need to have a good understanding of the children who are in my class. I need to be aware of their learning needs. I need to have a good understanding of their condition. I need to know what things they need for calming, what things they need to help them with their learning, what communication needs they have. So really it's the background knowledge. Will, he's autistic. Since he started, we've set up his little schedule to make life easier. The first few days we didn't have it in place because we were still getting to know him, but it's much easier for him in the classroom now if he knows exactly what's going to happen. And we've got a communication book set up with all the different bits and pieces. So he can tell us his needs and wants, and we can tell him what we want him to do. Also the people that are going to be important in his day.
If you don't have communication, it just doesn't happen. And it's communication between me and the family of the child with the special educational needs, and also the other specialist people who work with that child. I find one of the best things personally with the children that I've got is to have a home book with the home and school, so that I know what's going on at home and they know what's going on at school. And that way you can be given a little bit of warning of things that might not be going as well. If they'd had a rough morning or something, you know that you can deal with that.
The specific teaching strategies that we use for the children with special needs also benefit the other children in the class as well. The visual schedules, the explaining what we're going to do, the social stories, helps everybody.
Well done. Fantastic.
A lot of children that I've found with special needs need to visually see what's happening. And an example of that is one child who every day when he went home would forget something that he needed. And so we took photos of the items he needed to take home, his school bag, his jersey, his sweatshirt, all of those things. And now when he goes home, he goes with a buddy, checks that he's got all of those things, and then hopefully he goes home with the right equipment. But what I've found is that other children in the class are also using that system, and without me prompting them, they're going straight to it and they're checking that they've got all the stuff that they need. So the strategies that you use have huge benefits for the rest of the children, that explicit teaching.
If you put together the cumulative experience of these children from day to day and look at things like segregation from their peer group, being teased or bullied, not having their views listened to at school, being scared to speak in class because someone is going to tease you about the sound of your voice, being forced to sit behind a very large, noisy computer which makes you look different from everybody else. If you take all of those cumulative experiences, it comes as no surprise to us that impairment or disability is not viewed by these children as a positive part of who they are. And this concerns us because impairment is a reality for these children. And so the question that we have then is, how can schools respond to disabled children so that impairment is seen as a positive part of who they are? And really this is all about schools thinking about how they can respond to diversity in positive ways and give this message to all children that indeed, we are a diverse group of people.